Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is NoobSniper here, and welcome to another episode of the Let's Play Minecraft series, episode 70, I believe now. And I have not been very active the last few days, and there's been a legitimate reason. Allergies, of course. You know, what is new with me? Honestly, if it's not allergies, it's just, oh, man. Allergies are so annoying. I can't even explain how frustrating they are, because it seems that every time it comes to the weekend, I want to record, it's like, oh no, you know what, hey, Matt hasn't had allergies in a while, we should probably screw him over. So that's what's been up with me in regards to activity and the frequency of uploads on this channel. Hopefully again, we'll what, there's a water source running, I didn't even notice that. Hopefully we'll be able to fix that sooner than later. I have allergies right now, and I just want to do unmentionable things to the allergy god right now. I want to punish him very dearly for causing me to be like this. But how's everyone doing? Hope everyone has been doing quite swell. I myself have been dealing with a lot of personal stuff this last week, and I want to discuss it in this episode. I feel like I'm ready. I feel like it's okay to talk about this stuff, and you kind of have to every once in a while to let things go. It's really important, I think, to let people know when you have tough situations going on in your life. And so I had made a video a couple days ago, which unfortunately hasn't been monetized yet because YouTube's being dumb, but aside from the point, and I discussed how I had some personal stuff going on in my life, and again, like I said, I feel like I'm ready to tell you guys and talk about it publicly. About 3 years ago now, my grandfather we had discovered that he had found a tumor in the side of his neck, the right side of his neck, and oh, how did you get in there? We discussed treatments and possible outcomes and what have you, and what was mainly stated, just see if I can read any more of these guys here. And what was stated is that he needs to do some treatment. However, the treatment would be originally, and first and foremost, would be to try and surgically remove the cancerous tumor in his neck. However, the risk of that, stupid Enderman over there, the risk of that is that it could potentially leave him mute, which means he can't speak, deaf, and or lose his tongue, so he wouldn't be able to taste anything, part of his tongue at least. So it was a very, very serious surgery, and my grandfather, his immediate reaction, he's a very strong guy, he's healthy as a horse. I'll explain to you how I know he's healthy. But he immediately refused it. He said, why would I subject myself to being sick, causing myself to be sick, which he wasn't, right? He was perfectly fine. They had completely randomly found the cancer. So why would he want to make himself sick? So he opted, as much as we suggested that he really go through chemotherapy, radiation, and the surgery, he said no. And I mean, you can't fight against someone's own word. It's you may think you know what's best for them, but they know what they want. So he ultimately decided not to take the treatment, and a year later, the tumor started to seriously protrude from his neck. So it started to seriously pop out of his neck. I'd say I made the comparison to a friend that I had spoke to, that it is equivalent to like a tennis ball off the right side of his neck, and it really came out there, and it was really hard to look at when I first saw it. I'm like, holy crap, it's really gotten bad. Here, let me just try to figure out what I want to do this episode. I just want to talk, so maybe I'll just do some mining. I just want to talk to you guys. So, oh yeah, let me see how that mushroom farm's going. It's going. So about a year later, the tumor really started to grow, and the doctor said, well, you're either gonna not survive this, and you're gonna die with this giant tumor in your neck, or you can try treatments, and go from there. So he ended up going and let me just make this. He ended up going and doing chemotherapy. And for anyone who knows about chemotherapy, you'll know, or anyone who has had a family member go through it, you'll know how hard it is on a person. If you're young, you can go through it. It's not bad. I mean it is bad, but you're strong enough that your body can handle that kind of stress. However, he's an older man. He's 65 when I believe it occurred, and so let me just find a branch here to go down. I do a lot of mining, I'm telling you that. Let's just go right here. He's an older man, so I mean his body isn't as strong as someone else's. However, he pretty much went through radiation, chemotherapy, and he was doing well. The tumor honestly went down to the size of nothing. It was just normal. We thought, all right, this is great. He's gonna be fine. It didn't officially go into remission, but it looked like it was going to. And then he'd been constantly going through radiation every 3 months, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. I think it was every 3 months he was going to radiation, and they noticed that, or the doctors had noticed that once they started doing scans, CAT scans, CAT scans, X-rays, etc., that the cancer had spread throughout his body. It had spread to, it's in his bones, it's in his back or his spine. He pretty much has it all over the place. It's if you wanted to make an analogy, it's coursing through his blood right now. That's pretty much how much he has going on. So June. He had his last radio. Wait, what was it? Not radio. He had his last radiation session towards the cancer to try to remove it, and it dropped down to about the size of the golf ball. However, a week ago or so, he started acting really weird at his home. He lives with his wife, who is my grandma, and so he started acting really weird, and my grandmother didn't understand why. He would stare off blankly. He wouldn't eat. He would forget. He was really disoriented, and that occurred for about 2 days. And on the third day, it got to the point where my grandfather was sleeping, sitting upright in his chair for hours on end. Literally 5, 6, 7 hours. And my grandmother would try to wake him up, and he would wake up, he would move around, and then he would go back and sleep. He was so energy deprived. He didn't eat, and my grandmother thought, I don't know what's wrong. It could have been the last radiation that really put him over the edge. Took too much energy, whatever. I'll get all this ore afterwards. I'm just looking for diamonds right now. So they called an ambulance. They rush him to ER. Now, this is unconfirmed, but from the information I gathered, he pretty much went into a hypoxic state. And if you want to know what that is, when you go, the state of a hypoxia is a lack of oxygen to the brain and a lack of oxygen in general, and it causes in turn your brain decides to shut down other bodily functions and general areas of the body that are unnecessary for vital life. And in simple terms, what that means is your brain is shutting down your body so that it can conserve energy and keep living. And so he was, I'm going to estimate here based on some results that the tests that they had taken in the hospital after he had been on oxygen for a few days. I would estimate that his oxygen percentage in his body, his oxygen saturation, how much oxygen was actually being used and consumed in his body, was probably lower than 30%. And that's just based on an assumption and some estimations that I made. So, could be wrong, but that's generally how I feel, how I estimate that. So, sorry if it's really hard for me to talk about this. I'm not used to sharing this kind of stuff, so it's a building process for me. It's a learning process. And so he's in the hospital a few days, and he's still very disoriented. He's better. I mean, he's not the way he was before. He definitely significantly got better day to day. He was in the hospital for 5 days. Definitely got better. I mean, whole world, night and day kind of difference. However, he has to remain on with a constant oxygen supply to his brain, or to himself. He constantly needs the oxygen tank with him. And so I have to go over to his house, or my grandparents' house, help him out. He has someone comes in who helps him bathe and shave, because my grandmother can't really do it. She has her own slew of problems as well. So basically I just go over there and, just try to watch over him, help him out as much as I can. And, it was really, when I went to the hospital, the first time I saw him, he looked like he wasn't going to make it. And it gives you a really hard realization of life and death, basically, in general. So I don't mean for this commentary to be very morbid or sad or what have you. I just wanted to share my experience and things I've learned, because I've never lost anyone in my life, believe it or not. I've had a few great aunts and uncles, like as in great aunt and uncle, aunt of an aunt kind of thing, but I wasn't really close to them, so it didn't really get to me. But my grandfather and anyone in my immediate family, obviously I have a much more close connection. So it really, really, really took me for a roller coaster ride of emotions. I still right now I am really, really shooken up, and it's hard for me to talk about it without getting too emotional. And it, like I was saying, it really puts a perspective on life and death, and how just little time we really have, and sometimes you have to really value and cherish the times that you do have with the person. Don't take it for granted, because you never know when that person might go. If you're with your friends, you're 15, you don't have to worry about that. No, you don't worry about that. But I'm saying, when you're older and family members are getting older, and it's coming to the point, you really have to cherish the moments, because life is a finite thing. It does run out, and if you don't spend it carefully and don't spend it wisely, then you could really miss out on great things, great opportunities. My grandfather was a great guy. He still is. I mean, he's alive. Sorry, I'm just saying he's a great guy. He worked hard all his life. He worked pretty much up until retirement, construction worker. I think one of the doctors had mentioned that when he was in the hospital, even after the hypoxic state, and even after the state that he was in, his heart is absolutely amazing. He is 65 years old. If you know anything about heart rates and what an average heart rate is, it's anywhere between 60 and 80. That's just, I'd say like 70 and 90. That's generally an average heart rate. Athletes tend to have heart rates below 70, and that's just because they're trained better and what have you. But point being is, when he had gone to the hospital and they took his vitals, his heart rate after being on oxygen was sitting at 61, his resting heart rate. Now, if you know what that means, it's basically he has, for a 65-year-old, an absolutely incredible heart. Typically, when you age, your heart rate it does go down a little bit, but it actually sometimes mostly goes up because of blood cholesterol, extra fat, whatever. This guy, he is lean as heck. He is super, super fit. He worked, again, all his life. Unfortunately, smoked all his life as well, which is what most likely caused the cancer. But he was so healthy, completely no blood, no cholesterol in the blood, or a healthy amount, I should say. Heart like a racehorse. He had absolutely amazing heart. That's, again, like I said, probably what saved him from passing away. His heart was just so efficient in doing what it did. His lungs, unfortunately, they now have an infection because he had to have some radiation on that. But they were healthy prior to that. Or, well, they worked. They probably weren't healthy because of the tar from the smoking. But they were working pretty efficiently. But again, back to the whole topic of life and death. And, I mean, it's scary for me because I've never had this experience before, and I'm just playing it day by day. But the scariest aspect that ever happened was actually today. And you may be saying, well, what happened? Did he die, or did he... No, he's at home. He's not doing the greatest, but he's at home. The scariest thing today was my mom. She came up to... That's her father, by the way. And she came up to me today, and she says, can you come up here for a sec? Upstairs in my room. So I said, oh, yeah, sure. Whatever. And she goes, can you try on this jacket? And it's, a black jacket. And she says, can you try on these pants? And it's black pants. And it's black shoes. Obviously, if you know anything about a funeral, that's the general attire. So that really hit me hard. I don't know why. Oh shit. That really did hit me hard, and it was scary because it's inevitable. Unfortunately, what he's going through right now is not treatment of cancer. He's not going to get better. He's only getting worse. And it's inevitable. It's the end's going to come. He is going to pass. That happens to anyone, but for him, he might have 1 month, 2 months, 3 if we're lucky. As good as your heart can be, cancer is, again, a very, very dangerous, crazy how scary it is. Crazy how scary? That's a weird expression. It's just scary, and it's I mean, the way she just did it so casually, because I guess my mom has been through more than I have, of course. She lived longer than I have. She's dealt with this. She must have dealt with this, And so it comes a point in her life where she understands, or it's gotten to a point where she understands that her father is going to pass, and they have to prepare, and they have to just be ready, not to move on in the sense that you're going to forget about the person, but in the sense that you understand that their time is coming, and the inevitable will happen. But for me, it's more like, wow, how could you even think about this at this time? But for her, it's something she has to prepare for. She has to also mentally prepare the same way I'm, mentally preparing for this. What the heck happened here? I don't remember this being there before. She has to prepare for this as much as I am, but she prepares differently. She's preparing knowing what's going to happen, and I'm preparing, thinking he's going to go peacefully in his sleep, and he'll be not in pain. But the truth is, and the harsh reality is, that he's going to probably be in a lot of pain, and he might succumb to a heart attack. He might just stop breathing in his sleep. He, might could be a multitude of things, but it's not going to be peaceful, and it's going to be soon. So it's just scary knowing that fact. Wow, that got really deep really quick. I didn't mean to drop that. I don't mean this whole commentary to be so dark, but I need a place to vent, a place to talk about stuff and share my experiences with you guys and tell you guys what's going on in my life. So if you've been wondering why I haven't been as active as I have lately, or sorry, I haven't been as active lately as I usually am, that's the reason. And I'd like to think it's at least a valid reason too. So it's gonna be the next couple of months is gonna be kind of tough. I'll have to be bouncing around to their place, checking up on them, making sure they're okay, or as okay as possible, and just trying to do my best to make these last moments count. And it's just hard. I mean, there's no other way to explain it. I've personally never been through this kind of stuff, and I know a lot of people have. They've dealt with, their immediate family passing away. It's, that's even harder. I would be devastated, absolutely floored right now. Whew. But I just wanted to share my experiences with you guys, and if you have any, helpful advice or tips or comments for people who are going through similar things, similar times, feel free to leave a comment below. I always appreciate it. And I think I'm just going to conclude this episode here. Unfortunately, we didn't find any diamonds, that was sad. I've been on autopilot this whole time. I honestly haven't even thought about what I'm doing. I'm on autopilot right now. I usually am when I mine, but fortunately we didn't find any diamonds. I'll probably do an enchant next episode. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and feel free to leave a comment about maybe experiences you've gone through personally. Oh, there's the iron. And how you've dealt with them, because I know that can be hard for a lot of people. It's taking a toll on me. I'm trying my best to stay tough. But yeah, so thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, feel free to again leave a like, comment. I probably already said that. I did, didn't I? All right, see you guys. Have a great day.